Before you buy anything online that requires assembly, you should think about this. It will shorten your life. And the reason why it will shorten your life is because assembly is required, which means that you have to read directions, which means you have to read the instructions that have been provided by the seller or the manufacturer for the product. And therein lies the difficulty, is that it's not that I can't read instructions nor because I want to read instructions, but the instructions are absolutely horrible. That's the reality. And because the thing is, think of it this way, is that the manufacturer has already made the sale. So they could really care less what happens after the sale, just as long as you do not return it. And so they don't give much time or effort to actually making instructions that can be understood. And if you're someone like me, I am very detail oriented, and part of my skill is, and part of the curse is that I can easily read ambiguity and poorly worded language. And so, instructions for me, assembly instructions often essentially raise more questions than they solve. And the manufacturer, essentially looks at you like you've just bought food at the drive-thru. Because there was this movie decades ago, it was really well, it was one of the, I forgot the name of it, with Mel Gibson and Danny, I forgot his name for the moment, but it was Lethal Weapon, yeah. And in that movie, there was Joe Pesci was in this particular movie, and he commented about, buying food in the drive-thru. And I totally agree with that. The thing is that what his character had said, that, he was very disappointed that they bought him food in the drive-thru, because the reason being is that when you're in the drive-thru, they know, the people that are selling the food know that you're in a hurry. And they're not going to give much effort to make sure your food is accurate. So you're going to be down the road, because you went through the drive-thru because you were in a hurry. You're going to be halfway down the road and realize that they screwed you over. They give you something that you don't want, or the food was cold, the fries were cold, or whatever it was, but they screwed you. And but the fact that you're in a hurry and you don't want to drive all the way back, is then you got to wait in line again, and then they may not be able to help you, is that you just eat it. Eat it in a variety of ways. And so you're screwed. And so that's kind of like the thing is, to me, with corporations, they sell you this product and you've got to assemble it. And it's, you start putting an effort in it, you start reading the instructions, and they don't make any sense. And, you lose about 6 hours of your life, and you've already invested that 6 hours. And so it's not like, you're going to want to return it. And it's like the drive-thru. So this is what I go through when I get instructions. Now, I do have some suggestions on what I found, and ideas, what I found to be helpful for me. Number one is, if your spouse is mechanically inclined and does not read ambiguity, it's a skill, actually, and a curse, then she or he can help you tremendously. I found that to be the case, is that I do something else for my wife while she, assembles the product. Secondly, another idea is ChatGPT or Gemini, artificial intelligence. I found that to be helpful at times, because it cuts right to the chase. And then you can have a dialogue, but you can't have a dialogue with a set of instructions. And if you try to contact the manufacturer, you're going to get an 800 number that no one answers. But But at least you can have that dialogue with Gemini. No, that doesn't make sense, or what are you talking about with this phrase? So I found that to be helpful at times. But at times, though, this artificial intelligence kind of can bring you down the wrong road, wrong alley. And you're at the point of no return. And you've invested this time, and so what are you going to do? And it's instructions have shortened my life. And it's not something I'm very proud of. That's why technology can be I'm not old enough to say that I was around when fire was invented, but, I'm really not that old. And comparatively speaking, I guess. But it has been a challenge. And so so take that in mind next time you order something, is that look for the review comments. Yeah, that's an idea, actually, is that on a review, there should always be a space about the instructions, about how whether they're mucked up or not. That's an important. You have a title for the review, you have the body description of the review, and then they should be asking, how difficult were the instructions? And then you can rate that and provide comments. Because until that time, the manufacturer's just going to treat you like they screwed you through the drive-thru. Anyway, hope that helps. Until next time.